Dan is probably going to have this video taken down because I'm going to use his name and I'm going to use pictures, but I have to at this point. Dan has been saying that he trained under a guy named Hideyuki Honzawa, or calling him now Kogimo Honzawa, and posted a few pictures of him. And we tracked the guy down, and the guy's name is Charles Mitsuo Sakai. He's a guy who volunteered and helped with people with mental illness, obviously, because he dealt with Dan. So we assume that's where Dan met him, because Dan is a complete psychopath and has had a criminal record, and basically that's the only way someone like this guy, Charles Mitsuo Sakai, could run across someone like Dan. And this guy, he's a Hawaiian guy. His family's been in Hawaii forever, but he's of Japanese ancestry. He doesn't speak Japanese. He's not a martial artist. He's not really connected to Japan. He did some stand-up comedy where he alludes to this, making the Twinkie joke, yellow on the outside, white on the inside, and that's probably why he was self-deprecating, posing in pictures wearing Dan's fake cardboard kabuto, holding the sword upside down. But Dan's claiming that this guy is his teacher. But of course, on Dan's website, which I'll post, he claimed that he was another guy called Charles Sakai, because Dan can't spell or anything, and claimed that he was a descendant of some samurai family. The problem is here that this guy, Charles Sakai, died in 2012, January 25th, 2012, I think. I'll double check the date. And Dan is using pictures of him to further his lies, which is disgusting. This guy, he was an Army veteran, served in the Army, was a librarian at the Air Force Academy, volunteered his time to help with people who have mental illnesses, wrote tons of stuff about, different types of mental disorders, bipolar, all that stuff. So Dan came across him because I assume that Dan, went to one of these things. Probably how Dan got the Army PT shirt that he wears all the time. Probably got it from this guy who's probably just trying to help him out. And now that he died, just like people like Dukes do, once a person dies, they can't argue, just like Duncan did, claiming Draeger, just like Dukes did, claiming the guy from the CIA. After these people die, they can't defend themselves, and that's exactly what Dan is doing. So I'm going to show a bunch of pictures of the guy. Dan's now claiming that Charles Sakai is a different person and posted a picture on his Facebook, which I'll also post here. But Dan is a piece of shit, basically, and deserves anything that happens to happen to him. Not threatening him or anything, but I would definitely like him to show up when he challenges people, not act like a little bitch and run away. So, yeah, Dan's basically the worst person in the world. Copy this video, post it on your own YouTube channels, post it all over the place, spam his page if you want, spam it constantly. Do whatever you need to do. Fuck Dan Harmon. Here's the image that Dan Harmon posted on Facebook. Supposedly, as you see, it says Grandmaster Dan C. Harmon and his sensei, because Dan can't spell anything. Grandmaster Kogimo Hanzawa out front of Grandmaster Kogimo Hanzawa's law office in Japan in 2003. If you look on the left, there's a sign in English that says "Keep off the grass." Here's Dan claiming that looks like a Filipino guy, maybe Filipino, maybe Indonesian, Malaysian, Southeast Asian, definitely not Japanese guy, is Charles Sakai. Complete idiot. We'll move on to the next one. Here's that picture again, Dan saying, "My instructor's still alive," and this was posted May 2nd at 2:21 p.m., well after Charles Sakai died. Here you could see from the Colorado Springs, it's one of the mental health organizations there, the picture of the same person who Dan claims was his teacher, claims is Honzawa. This is definitely Charles Sakai. list his death date, January 25th, 2012. And it's really, just read this. This guy was definitely a good guy. And Dan is just a piece of shit. Here you could see Charles Sakai from Dan's website, danielharmon73.wix.com, posing with the sword in Dan's cardboard helmet, probably just making a joke. But apparently he's become Dan's teacher in a different one. One thing that I noticed, because Dan's making up this bullshit that they're not the same person. Yeah, they're obviously the same person. They're wearing the same belt buckle, the same glasses. It's, it's just disgusting what Dan's doing, really. Just make sure you spam this everywhere.